So you've seen over 25 years of clients, their situations, their different risk tolerances, and so you've become really good at diagnosing. When you say,
Yeah, I have. Yeah. I'm getting better. I'm always learning, but I'm getting better at it. Yes.
what we're going to do is look at the first situation. If you want to introduce a little bit about their situation.
Yeah. So these were some actual clients of mine that came to one of my classes that I teach.
Yes.
And I always say the first thing you need to do before you retire, or even if you're retired, is you need to understand what your expenses are.
Okay.
Okay. And for the pre-retiree, figure out what your expenses are now. And then we or someone else can help you determine what you're likely to need
Okay.
in retirement.
Okay.
You have to adjust it for inflation, obviously. And I use this Dave Ramsey budget quite a bit, but
Good.
a lot of people use Excel spreadsheets, and that's fine. A fair amount of people use a credit card or two, and that's fine too. But if you're not using a system and you need to start tracking it, this is what we suggest. Now, this couple, they're in their late 50s, so they're really not retirement age. And he had been a lifelong guy at one of the major automotive companies.
Okay.
And they wanted $12,000 a month in retirement. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's a pretty big number for the average person in Metro Detroit.
Yeah.
And I'm going like, okay, that's fine. Now, they had Social Security. He had earned a small pension.
Okay.
And he had saved a fair amount of money in his 401ks.
Okay, that helps, right?
So, yeah, it wasn't it wasn't like they had zero assets
Right.
and wanted a $12,000 a month retirement. They had thought they had enough money to do this, but they had no way to know how to do it.
Absolutely.
Now, oddly enough, this gentleman was an engineer at one of the auto companies that did really well. And as the voluntary separation notices were going out over the last couple of years,
Right.
for whatever reason, probably because he didn't have a plan, was
Right.
getting more and more anxious about that voluntary separation turning into an involuntary separation.
My goodness.
And at some point in time, he had a major heart attack. He wasn't even laid off, and he had a major heart attack, wound up in the hospital. And I don't know what his solution was for that. If, he got a bypass or some sort of surgery or a couple of stents, I don't know what his solution was. But because of that, he did get laid off. His job was terminated.
My God.
And so now he doesn't have a retirement plan. He loses his job and his health is failing. That's like the trifecta there.
That is.
So he
that
came
is.
to one of my classes, came in to get a plan. I call it the lab work to finish the class. And we went over his situation. Now, for pretty much everyone, the foundation of your retirement is income.
Okay.
Why? Guess what you're going to lose in retirement?
Income.
You're going to lose your paycheck. Okay. It's, I always kind of joke that part of my job is showing people how to lose the job but keep the paycheck. So this gentleman he and his wife wanted or needed $12,000 a year. Their life was not that big, but they wanted to do some fun stuff, right? They wanted to travel quite a bit. Their son and their daughter lived out of town, and they wanted to go travel and spend time with them. And, every couple of years they would rent a beach house in the winter down south and a beach house up north
would be
in
a
this,
dream.
through Airbnb and invite
Yeah,
the kids
invite
in and
the
the friends.
family.
And
That's
I mean,
wonderful.
it sounds like fun, but it costs a little bit of money, and they knew that. And so they budgeted correctly. And there's two axioms that I hold to be absolute in retirement. Retirement generally costs more than people think.
Yeah.
And having too much income in retirement is always better than not having enough
Very
income.
true. Very
So
true.
these two went a little bit over maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it works for them.
Sure, absolutely.
And they wanted 12 grand. Okay. So will you go to the next slide, please?
Of course.
So the first thing is determining the gap. Now, once again, that's a very arbitrary word, and I'm going to drill down on exactly what it is. So this couple, without doing anything, had three sources of income. They had his Social Security, her Social Security, and a small pension he had earned. This was not his automotive pension.
Okay.
This was a pension he had earned prior to that.
Okay.
And when you added the three up, it came out to just under $4,000 a month.
Okay.
Remember, they wanted 12.
Yeah.
You want clarification of what a gap is? The gap is the difference between $12,000 a month and $4,000 a month. So their gap for income purposes only was about $8,000 a month. This is where the planning comes in.
Right.
Now, Sue, let me ask you a question on this. This gentleman had recently had a heart attack because he was so anxious about everything.
Poor guy.
Do you think, now you're not a retirement planner, are you? Okay.
No.
Do you think his risk tolerance was high or low?
Low?
Low.
Okay.
Like,
Super low, right?
I don't want to say zero because there's no such thing. If he could get zero, it would be zero.
Yeah.
He didn't want any stress related to the ups and downs of the
Nope.
markets. He didn't want any of that. So what he's telling us, without telling us,
Yeah.
and I had to make it known to him and his wife, that he needed an income producing annuity. That's
Right.
what he needed.
Right.
Why? He didn't want any variance or any fluctuations in his income with regards to the market or the economy or our president or the elections coming up, because that's going to be constant, probably for the remainder of our lives.
Yeah.
So his risk tolerance was pretty low.
Low.
Now, it was pretty clear to me what he needed. I had to make sure he understood what he told me he needed,
Okay.
and then have him agree to the benefits of it for he and his wife in
'Cause
retirement.
it's always their choice.
It's 100% their choice. Yep.
Absolutely.
And and even after having him understand and get him to buy into the plan, it's still his choice on whether he hires us or not. And if he decided, he ultimately hired us,
Okay.
but if he decided not to hire us, you understand, I'd still advocate for the guy.
Yes.
I became friends with he and his wife. It's funny. I read a funny quote today. It's much easier to become friends with your clients than, to turn a client into a friend
Yeah.
than a friend into a client.
Oh, that's interesting.
I thought it was a great quote, and I think it's really true. So this gentleman and his wife, they're my friends now.
Oh my God.
We're texting about, the Lions all the time. Everyone's a Lions fan now, including myself.
Me too.
And they become friends now, and they're doing great.
That's amazing. And,
Yeah.
he's pretty healthy.
Yeah. So
Trying.
part of his, newfound retirement freedom is, he goes and works out most days. I don't think he's doing enormously strenuous exercises,
That's
but
good to
he's
hear.
walking on the treadmill at an incline and just good stuff,
That's
to
amazing.
get back. But I always ask him about his health, and he said, yeah, his doctor says he's doing great. But,
Wow.
I mean, you want to talk about, being grateful for the rest of your life, almost have it taken away
Yes.
in your late 50s when, you've got the money, you've got the family, everyone's doing great, and then all of a
Right.
sudden,
It's so scary. Yeah. But
That-
I think that they've handled this really well. So they listened, and we're going to go back to slide 2.
yeah. So
So-
once again, my directive was to fill that gap of $8,000 a month.
Right.
And this is how we did it. Okay. If you go.
Okay.
So if you can see this, okay, this is what we call our longevity report. And
Okay.
I don't know how it's coming through on the screen or not, but it looks kind of small for me, but
I think that's
I
fine.
can't see it without my readers. So the first three columns, his social, her social, his small pension, that was all taken care of before they even met us.
Okay.
But that only got him $4,000 a month. So what we had them do, he had earned a pretty good sized lump sum pension at his auto job.
That helps.
And he was adamant to lump sum it. In fact, I think he'd already lump summed it and just put it
Okay.
in a money market fund in an IRA
So
at
he could-
Fidelity before he even met me.
Right.
Because he had already made that decision that
Good.
he wanted that asset to go to the family. And then, so that's the column called lump sum.
Right.
The one to the right of that is called PP1. Now that stands for private pension number 1.
Okay.
This is where we had him fund a private pension annuity. Probably not going to get into the details that much, but it was going to generate, it looks like $70,000 a year as long as he and his wife were living.
Okay.
And then when the second one of those two died, the asset goes to their kids.
Okay.
So you're not giving the money to the insurance company.
That's good.
Yeah, that's real good.
That's really good.
And then his wife had a small annuity at Voya, and we just kind of showed her how to use it for income, and we built it right into their plan.
Okay, so they're using some of the lump sum,
Yep.
some of the pension, like these things that they have in place.
Yeah.
You're finding a way, in a sense, to make it last, right?
Making it last is really important because a lot of brokers will say, well, if you live to like 85, you should be okay, which I don't think is very reassuring.
It's not really reassuring.
So it's this case was unique because remember, everything I did went back to his health issue.
Yes, that's right.
That for whatever reason, he was so anxious about his future that when the voluntary layoffs were going on, he had a heart attack and almost died because of it.
Unbelievable.
So
Poor guy.
you know what I thought as I was building this plan, and it takes months to do this. It's not a 1 week solution. It takes months to get to know someone,
Yeah.
to do it the right way. Was if the market crashes or tanks, I don't want this gentleman to get anxious and have another heart
Oh
attack
my
because of the
gosh,
way
no.
I built his plan.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that had to be completely off the table.
Wow.
And so that's why we used a private pension annuity. And I know some people have bad feelings or connotations about annuities, and I get it. There's probably some that are actually, let me rephrase it, the vast majority of them are pretty bad, but there's a slice, maybe 5 to 10% that fall into really good annuities.
Okay.
And I put my money where my mouth is. I own annuities for my retirement.
Right, yeah.
And they're going to take care of me and my wife and our family in retirement. I have 3 different types of annuities. One that's going to give me steady income, one inflation indexed, and one just a standard raise every year.
Okay.
And it should be just fine. And if it's not fine, I'll put more in there. So
Yeah.
when I recommend this to clients, and I can be risk adverse, by the way.
Okay.
I choose to set the foundation up of my own retirement the way I would recommend it for this gentleman and his wife too.
That's
So
really good.
I definitely put my money where my mouth is
I'm
when
really
it comes
glad.
to that.
Yeah, because